will still be deprived.
Sir, if I correctly remember, I have read your article, introduction, on social stratification among the caste, and if I am correct, and if I am going to summarize before you your paper, you have criticized M.N. Srinivas also in your paper, and you have said that caste-like structure exists in Muslims community and it has not come from the Hindu community, and you have said that in Muslims community there is a tendency to what should I say, to attach yourself to the tradition of the Prophet, and through that,
not only that, I don't want to go into this.
Through the tradition of the Prophet, and through that the questions of superiority and inferiorities are being reproduced.
It's a very long question, long debate on this. Firstly, it is a myth that Islam is egalitarian. It is not. The whole structure of Islam...
Sir, this is very controversial statement. Please rethink.
No, I am saying that it's a myth that Islam is egalitarian.
But many people say that Muslim society is inegalitarian, not Islam.
No. The point is, even Islam is inegalitarian.
Give me some reason.
I'll give you the example.
Okay.
The relation between the Muslim, the Dhimmi, and the Kafir. Is there not a hierarchy? Is a hierarchy of relationship with the Muslim at the top, Dhimmi is in the middle, Kafir at the bottom.
But Prophet has also said that the black has no superiority over white, and white has no superiority over black. The Arab has no superiority over non-Arab.
So many things.
And all are equal. All are children of God.
Look at this. Then one aspect of hierarchy. There is slavery in Islam. The relationship between the slave and the free person is not the same. The slaves have to be treated kindly, but there is a hierarchy of...
But sir, if I am correct, it is also considered pious act to free the slave.
Well, that's another matter. But slavery as a system is a hierarchical system. It exists in Islam. Number 3. Man stands in relation to God in a subservient position. Isn't it?
So, but this is true of all religion.
No. But is the position of man in relation to God not one of subservience? And the relationship of the community to the individual is also, community is stronger, more powerful, more dominant, individual is subordinate.
But sir, such thought is also found in, let's say, Rousseau's thought and in Marxist thought also, where community is given...
No. What I am saying, I am talking of Islam. I am not talking of other systems. So, the relationship of hierarchy is there. Thirdly, social inequality existed even in Arab society.
But sir,
if that was not the case, Quran would not say that let those who have enjoy their wealth and those who do not have should remain content. God is all seeing. That means inequality.
But sir, in Quran there is also repeated reference that your namaz is part of your social service to your neighbor. You should work for the miskin, for the poor. So why are you only stressing the ritual aspect of it? There is also very egalitarian social structure in Islam.
No, I think this is Islam. If you want to make Islam egalitarian,
Okay.
please recognize that Islam is like the Indian Constitution.
Okay.
It promises equality in the future,
Okay.
but it does not say that present is
Okay.
equal.
Okay.
Quran doesn't say that. Inequality exists, but the ultimate goal is to create an egalitarian society. And that is what the intent of the Quran is. This is one point. Related to this, as Islam traveled from its Arab
Persia to India, yes.
Arab origin to Persia, Turkey, India. Those are societies where social stratification had developed considerably. Inequality had become so much so that in Turkey there are 4 kinds of mosques. There are 4 kinds of mosques.
No, you start from that. From Persia, you started. You start from this. From Persia, Islam started moving.
No. So in all these societies through which Islam came, elaborate social stratification had already developed. Till you come to Turkey. And in Turkey, mosques are of 4 kinds. With 1 minaret, with 2 minarets, with 3 minarets, and 4 minarets. Only the members of the royal family, only the king could build a mosque of 4 minarets. Relatives of the king could build 3. Rich people could build 2. Common man could build only 1. So this stratification had already developed. When it came to India, to some extent the Indian stratification system, the caste system was diluted. It was weakened, but it never ended. And therefore it continues to be a part of the ethos.
But it weakened. The caste system was attacked.
Somewhat. I am saying yes. It was not as rigid. There is certain amount of flexibility or mobility possible within the system. That's how you have people inventing genealogies to show that I am a descendant of Muhammad. That flexibility existed. So, it's a myth that Islam is egalitarian. It is egalitarian in its future intent, but it is not egalitarian in its empirical existential.
So, the same thing Ambedkar has also said, that the difference between Hinduism and other religion is that even if inequality has existed in other society, religion in different society is at least promising that there is egalitarian future. But in Hindu society, inequality is the norm, is the ideal.
And it's also legitimated by the...
So in this context, is it not that Islam is progressive?
Well, I wouldn't say that, there are tangible texts in the Quranic scripture that can be used to justify, and that is how in India, the Indian ulama use the notion of kufr to justify caste system.
Okay.
So, within these scriptural texts, there are elements that you can cite as legitimating inequality. So don't be under this illusion that It's all very egalitarian. There is inequality, there is hierarchy, there is notion of discrimination built into it.
Sir, in post-independence India, you have seen the world. Do you think that the kind of injustice is being meted out by the, let's say, majoritarian state? There is a possibility that a section of Muslims is thinking that now it is time to give up the secular identity and assert their Muslim religious identity. And do you think that the kind of politics and the kind of ideal you have cherished in your life is being discarded by the young Muslims?
You see, my reactions are strong. When secularism came to India, neither the Muslim had any idea of secularism, nor the Hindu had any idea of it. It was totally unknown. Except for Nehru, nobody was talking about secularism. So, secularism did not have roots in India. That changed. Now, so far as Muslims are concerned, they accepted secularism partially. And by partially they mean that the state apparatus should be secular. We don't have to be secular. So the state apparatus becomes an instrument in allowing me to remain communal.
How they are communal, sir? Is it not big a statement?
In the sense that I would not accept secularism in my personal relationships. So Muslims...
What do you mean by the fact that Muslims were not willing to accept secularism in their personal life?
Well, look at the inequalities. What have they done about inequalities? What have they done about women's rights? Yeah? You're talking about this. You are a great defender of Islam, but tell me that in 60 years, 70 years, where have we fought for the rights of the Paswanda, backward Muslims? There is a Paswanda Muslim community.
70 to 80%.
Who has fought for them? Nobody. They have themselves have come forward. Who has fought for women? Nobody. Only women themselves are fighting the war of equality. So please, don't exaggerate Islam. In effect, what has happened is that the Muslims thought that secularism is a protection against Hindu communalism. And there was a powerful Hindu communalism that Nehru spoke about. It's a protection. But it is not a compulsion for us to modify our own culture. Women therefore must be kept in parda or whatever. Now, and even today I find many people saying, secularism is for the state, it is not for individual private affairs. No, that's not correct. Secularism has both aspects.
Okay. Internal secularism and external secularism.
So you have to be secular internally to be able to demand secularism
externally.
That Muslims never accepted. That also, I think, was a serious problem. And yet, the state tried to ensure that Muslims don't feel aggrieved. I think a considerable amount of effort, you know what the RSS today talks of Muslim appeasement, was actually a tactical exercise to give Muslims a sense of belonging. It had nothing to do with appeasement. But they have constructed, RSS has constructed it that way. I mean, I can talk about constructions of the RSS at length, but this is not the occasion to do that.
Achha, sir, as a student of history, when we do historiography, you are always criticized by those who believe in, let's say, Muslim nationalism.
Huh?
There are scholars who believe in Muslim nationalism. I am talking about Muslim nationalism in South Asia. Mr. Quraisi, Professor Quraisi, and also other people, and they criticize your work also indirectly, directly, without naming you.
You see,
that to say that there are Indian Islam or there are let's say local Islam, these are not correct. Islam is Islam, and Muslims community has got one important identity. And if you read the work of, let's say, Maulana Maududi, maybe Sayyid Qutub, their argument is that Islam is providing total code of conduct for religious aspect, for social aspect, for cultural aspect, for political, everything. So go for Islam in all the sphere. Do not remain secular in public sphere and be religious in your private sphere. Be Muslim in all the sphere. And you have always opposed that argument, and you have said that we cannot talk about Muslim as a community either in South Asia or maybe at the world level. We have to talk about particular Islam. So many young scholars may not be much aware about this debate. Please throw light on this.
You want historians to become theologians. I am not inclined in that direction. When Maududi writes, or when
Professor Quraisi,
Waliullah writes, they are trying to essentialize Islam. Saying that everything is in the book. Ultimate goal is to establish the Islamic State. That's one version. That's the one construction that exists. There are multiple constructions available. So the Orthodox Muslim, the Devbandi will say, going to the shrine is a crime. It is a repudiation of religion. The common man goes to the shrine. Now, should you ignore his belief in favor of the Quran? Or is there place for his belief, common man's belief in Islam? So the way Maududi constructs or Al-Waliullah constructs is a process of, shall I call it, essentialization, which ignores diversity. Who can deny that Muslim rituals are a copy of the Hindu rituals? In Kerala, which you know about, that nikah takes place, but marriage is not complete until Talikatte Kalyanam has been performed. Now, is this not part of Islam? Should we not reckon this? Therefore, from Ishtiaq Hussain Qureshi downwards, a whole generation of Pakistani scholars and Indian scholars on the Hindu side,
Francis Jadunath Sarkar, Francis Robinson also.
All of them said there is
essential Muslim's identity.
Muslim nationalism and there is Hindu nationalism. Actually, no, it's not correct. Nationalism didn't exist in India. it had to be devised. And Gandhi devised it in a variety of different ways. On the one hand, he would talk of Ramraj, on the other hand, he'll talk of Khilafat. Because he knew India is a group society, therefore, approach the people in terms of groups. So for freedom, you harness Hindus by talking of Ramraj and supporting Khilafat. So the reality is this. And therefore, the other construction, the so-called secular construction that you find in the discovery of India, which categorically said, religion is not the foundation stone of nationalism.
But sir, two things I would like to say. 2 points I have. You have said that some scholars are trying to essentialize Islam. I also keep talking the same issue with my friends. And they argue that, okay, diversity is not being denied in Muslims community, but there is something which is very essential of Islam and where everybody agrees. For example, one God, Quran, the supreme book, the revealed book, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last prophet, also Hajj. So these are basic principles where all Muslims, irrespective of the caste, sects, they all agree. So will you not agree that there is something essential in Islam?
I make 2 points.
Okay.
Permit me to.
Okay.
One is that there are some structural problems in the way Islam has been constructed. Therefore, if I go by one construction, all that you are saying is correct. There is one book, there is one God, He is the last prophet, all this comes from that construction. But I am a very different kind of a person. I went to Barabanki district in UP and I was sitting and talking to a man, Muslim man, and he said, "Sir, you please sit for 10 minutes. I will go to Nizamuddin and come back." So I was quite perplexed. Nizamuddin is in Delhi.
And he is in
How will you
Barabanki.
go to Nizamuddin and come back in 10 minutes?
Traveling something around 500 to 600 kilometers.
So what actually had happened is that he had taken a brick from Nizamuddin and installed it in his gaon. And that was Nizamuddin for him.
Okay.
Now, is this tradition not relevant to understanding Islam? Or should we take into cognizance the fact? So, there is a structural problem, I agree. Why one God? Why kafir and believer? But people translate the text in their real life. People don't follow the text. They translate it into their real life. And in the process of this translation, they deviate from it.
Deviate from the textual world.
From the textual world. Now, Maududi sits in his house and writes about Islam, Islam, Islam. Well, he is constructing. He is not translating. Whereas the average Muslim who lives as a Muslim translates.
So you have given very important insight to a scholar, a student like me and many other people, that reading books and then following blindly without, let's say...
They don't follow. Why are you saying following? No Muslim follows the Quran. Except for prayer. 70% of the Muslims don't pray. Hajj, only 2% Muslims.
But sir, some people argue, my friends who are Muslims and they know Arabic and Persian and Urdu, they will say that Professor Imtiaz Ahmad has studied social sciences, he speaks English, he cannot read difficult texts of Arabic.
This is nothing new.
Okay.
Just a minute. This is
okay. So what right he has to give or a pass comment on believing Muslims?
Just a minute.
Without reading the text.
Just a minute, I will say this.
Without knowing the text.
When Ramon Roy was fighting for abolition of sati, he came under attack from the Sanskritists. And there was a stylistics of this. The stylistics was, you have not read the Quran. Imtiaz Ahmad has not read the Quran, as if he has read the Quran. Even he doesn't know the Quran. He is trying to use it as a stylistic form to discredit me. Whereas he has not read the Quran. Imtiaz Ahmad has not read the Quran. Why? How can you?
You are not the master of tafsir.
No. How can you say that I have not read the Quran?
But in Arabic you should read.
Arabic is not my language. So when I read the Arabic text, I don't understand.
But they are saying you should read in Arabic. Before
reading, though, every Muslim reads, but he doesn't know what is there.
Okay.
So how do you understand? Then only the Arabs understand. Then only the Arabs are Muslim, nobody else is a Muslim. So the text, this is a standard strategy
to discourage,
to discredit the opposition by saying you don't know the Muslim. You are not a Muslim. Ultimately it will come to this, Imtiaz Ahmad is not a Muslim. As if he has the license and I don't have.
Okay. Sir, the last two questions. And now it will be summary and you answer these two questions and then we will stop it. Given the conditions, we all are not very happy. In the country also, the social fabric is being strained. One particular community is being targeted and the state is becoming aggressive and communal. And then there is also the problem that Muslims community, in your opinion, instead of opening up is increasingly closing. And if I summarize your words, the elements of rigidity are more seen today among the Muslims community than they were found some 20 or 30 years back. Given that, as a scholar, as a student, as an Indian, as a well-wisher of this country, as a citizen, as a wise man, what will be your advice to the establishment who are mostly composed of, let's say, non-Muslims and the Muslims community? How should we rescue our country, which has a long traditions of, let's say, Hindu-Muslims unity, religious tolerance, and we had all kinds of the problems. But now the problems are being aggravated. It is not being addressed. So given that very frustrating situations, your advice, your suggestion to two groups of the people. One, the establishment sitting at the top, and particularly the weaker section, the marginalized community, and then we will stop it.
I have two responses.
First,
your two questions and I have two responses.
Okay, first to the establishment. First to establishment.
Well, you cannot tell anything to this establishment.
अगर आपकी बात सुनना चाहे, मान लीजिए इतने सब
नहीं, वो सुनेगा ही नहीं.
Suppose if somebody is there.
It's an ideological. The state to a certain extent is compelled.
Sir, even if I belong to Hindutva ideology, maybe I am sitting at the top. But if Imtiaz Ahmad is saying something who has spent his whole life in a studying society, I should pay some attention. Please say, sir.
Well, I would put it this way. We were on the right track from 1947, 1952 onwards. Even if not completely, try to get back to that same track. Because that track was one that promised peace, understanding, and prosperity to the country. So my suggestion would be this. Restore.
Restore the old road.
Restore part of the track.
Part of the track. Sir, reviving something is not the best policy. Reviving old blueprint.
I mean, an overall policy framework that existed for 40 years, 60 years. That tradition was...
somewhat should be restored.
Should be restored.
Okay. Something can be added also.
And I would say it will be restored.
Okay.
Therefore, my second answer...
Sir, are you saying that it should be fully restored or new elements can be added?
Well, I think in the process, nothing can be restored
fully.
In purity. Some modifications have to be done. The other point that I think... But one thing I think what is happening in India today is a temporary aberration. It is not going to go on like this. It's not that RS is going to sweep and do whatever feel.
But they have done it, sir.
Yeah. They are trying. They're trying, but they have not. They are targeting, but they have not bothered. Muslims are not bothered about RSS attack. They know they can survive. What I am saying is that large chunks of the Muslims and larger chunks of the Hindu society are marked by sanity.
Matlab, you are saying that most of the people among the Muslims community, most of the people among the Hindu community, they are by and large fair.
You can call them secular.
Secular.
They are peace loving. They are religious, but they are not bigots. The hope lies there. It is this group that will one day come into its own and look at the commentary that is going on in the social media on Kashmiri files. And you will see that there is a large section that is sane, that is accommodative, that accepts diversity, that accepts toleration. I think our hope lies there.
So it will be restored.
I think the restoration process.
How long, sir? How long should we wait? Some prediction.
But I don't want to be.
Many people are saying now it is rise of Hindutva force and it will continue for decades.
I think I don't want to be an astrologer.
Okay. But we are taught that in social sciences predictions should also be done.
But I would only say this. If the right wing was going to be dominant for the next 50 years, why is Modi so shaken up? After all, Modi is feeling weak also.
Is he feeling weak?
Yes, why not? The effort that he has put into win an election.
So you are saying that from outside it may appear that Hindutva forces are very strong, but they are feeling that
There are problems.
there are problems.
Yeah. And they are gradually losing their sheen. You know.
I don't think so after Uttar Pradesh election, sir, result.
You
Maybe that I'm
good,
child.
a good barometer is the social media.
Okay.
And in the social media, 5 years ago nobody was talking against RSS. Today a whole lot of people are attacking RSS.
But thousands of people are also supporting RSS, sir.
Yeah, but there are thousands supporting RSS, there are millions supporting non.
Okay.
You know, look at this.
Okay.
Is the sane people are more than the bucks.
Okay. So your conclusion is that whatever happening.
I think we will come over it.
Okay. So your
We will
conclusion.
tide over.
Okay. So your conclusion is that whatever heat we are facing or we are feeling right now, this is the passing phenomena, or very soon we will come over it, because you have a faith that the majority of the people in either community, they are secular, and one day they will realize. Any message for the Muslims community, sir, or maybe marginalized community?
Any
Message for the Muslims community, because they should also listen to your voice, sir.
Well, I don't have any message. I'm not a messenger of God. But I would say that they should allow a little more rationality to come in their thought process. Simply because the wind is against you, you don't have to be rigid and conservative. You can still carry on your process of modernization, social change, and take a more liberal view of the world. That's all.
Sir, thank you very much. It has been wonderful time, and
I don't know about that.
sir, I have asked many questions related to religion, nationalism, citizenship, maybe identity, current politics, so many things, anthropology, sociology, field work, and you have given time, you have spoken. Sir, I think in my life also as a student and maybe as a journalist, this is a great day for me that I am interacting and I am talking with Professor Imtiaz Ahmad, whose book, whose writing continue to influence scholars. They are being read, they are being criticized, they are being upheld. Sir, thank you very much. Friends, we have conducted this interview at Professor Imtiaz Ahmad's house located in New Delhi in Basant Kunj, and today is March 20, 2022. Professor Imtiaz Ahmad is available on Facebook. You could reach him, you could give your comments. Sir, are you also using any other social media? Are you also using any other social media apart from Facebook? Which one?
Social media?
Which social media are you using?
Facebook.
Facebook. So you can get in touch with Professor Imtiaz Ahmad. Sir, अगर कोई गलती हो तो माफ कीजिएगा. If I have asked, if I ask something which is silly or which may not be very important.
Yeah, but unless you ask difficult questions, how there is no point. One should ask difficult questions, and I am obliged to answer them,
sir,
howsoever shabbily I can.
Sir, thank you very much for talking to me, sir. Thank you, sir.
Actually, apart from this program, I have the Rajya Sabha television has a recording of mine, which is a lecture I gave at the IIC, analyzing the entire Muslim community structure and all that. Maybe you should try to get a copy. I would also like to have a copy because that was a masterpiece as far as I am concerned. Ask Rajya Sabha whether from their archives they can take out that and make a copy for it.
Okay. Sir, you have talked to me, sir. I express my gratitude and my thanks to you, sir.
Welcome.